David, I picked up a copy of this while I was in Vancouver on holiday, and I made a point of going to a comic book store to grab it. Obviously, we can get it worldwide now. What is it like for you, um, seeing this team, out in print? You loved Creature Commandos as a kid. I know you said it in an interview with DC. Obviously, now embedded in pop culture as well, with a new series coming out. So, what is it like for you to be able to put this out into the world? And just see Creature Commandos taking over, which is going to be the case in the next few months.
First of all, I want to say it's great to be back with you on the show. I love talking to you. So thanks for having me. And I'm glad that things are going well with your show. I love monsters. I love comic books. I love rock and roll. And I love stories about characters that are overcoming things that seem insurmountable. And with Creature Commandos, as a kid, to me, they were the coolest because it was military battle adventure, superhero style, but with very classic, almost universal style monsters, a werewolf, a vampire, a Frankenstein's monster type of character, Gorgon. And they were fighting mostly Nazis and old school military, Axis type powers back in the old comics. So for me, getting the chance to resurrect the story for DC Publishing and getting to write these comics is it's like if you grew up always wanting to be Mario Andretti and all of a sudden you find yourself out on the track getting to really drive like you're driving the car now. It's crazy. I'm getting to metaphorically put on the cape and go step into the sets of this world because I'm getting to create and tell the story. And how do I bring it to 2024? That was the biggest exciting thing to me because even though I love all the fun stuff about the Creature Commandos, I was like, what a great time for me as I wrestle with a lot of the things that I work on in my own life and the things that I think make life so difficult and make us feel like maybe we're broken sometimes. Maybe we feel like the problems that we have, whether they're physical, mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual, the conflicts, the brokenness that so many of us feel about parts of ourselves that we wish were perfect can either be put into boxes of shame and used as an opportunity to remove us from the game of life, or we could do that really hard, scary thing, which is trying to figure out a way that these can be converted into our own secret superpowers. And
Yeah.
that's what the Creature Commandos are getting to do in this new version. And the DC has given me free reign to really write the comic book that I want to be writing. And they've taken the handcuffs off, if you will. They've let me make the comic really violent and scary, and there's some heavy themes. It's a blast, man, and it's pretty metal.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And in reading it, you identify, you try and find relatable points to characters, like Lucky, for example, this, I wonder for you as a writer and writing this stuff, do you identify with any of your commandos you're writing for particularly? I did notice a passing similarity in the drawing between yourself and Vincent Velcro, perhaps. But I wonder, do you find yourself identifying with these characters and the struggles they're going through as you write?
I thoroughly identify with them. I think I've always looked at myself in different times and chapters in my life as a monster, sometimes as a bad monster and sometimes as a good monster. With Lucky Taylor, he's like a Frankenstein monster version of a super soldier who's been put back together so many times he can't even remember the trauma of the past. And that happens to a lot of us. We bury the trauma of the past inside of our bodies and we don't let our brains go there. He struggles every time he's confronted with the trauma of his past with the desire for suicide. And that's absolutely something I can relate to and have struggled with in my life. As far as Wanda, she's got this rage in her that feels completely at the mercy of the world around her. And I have absolutely struggled with, issues around my anger, resentment, temper. And that's something that feels sometimes like almost a hopeless cause when every time the moon comes out, you lose control. So let's say every time somebody does something that triggers me, I lose control, and I can either go, well, I have no control over this. I can just blame it on the moon or blame it on, well, other people's behavior, or I can do the work of trying to develop my own system the way the Creature Commandos have, that they can start
Mm,
to regulate the monsters within. And finally, Vincent, thank you for noting any similarities between me and Vincent. That's all Jesus's design work, and he's such a great artist. Um, but
yeah.
for Vincent, I think the desire to control not even just the circumstances around him, but all the ways he tries to avoid feeling any emotional vulnerability or pain is something I can deeply resonate with. And it's something I've struggled with for years, where I try to control all the things around me so that I don't have to be at risk of feeling vulnerable or in pain. And I think Wanda, Mina, Lucky, Dr. West, they're all going to have to at some point jump into the fire of the things that scare them the most,
Yeah.
so that they can save each other and hopefully save the world.
Absolutely, David. Absolutely. A couple more questions then. It sounds like you're saying that you found real catharsis through this writing process, getting this opportunity, and then obviously, putting parts of yourself into these characters. Would you say you came out of producing this comic and putting your heart and soul into it? Would you say you came out a different person or more well-rounded, or maybe well-rounded isn't the term, but certainly more developed?
I hope so. I think so. I hope I come out of the process writing these books more well-rounded. I don't know. Some nice neighbor just invited me to sit down over here. That was nice of you. Hi. Oh, look at these beautiful flowers she has.
Oh, wow.
They're Mexican sage, and she's got this beautiful bench here. I mean, our interview is almost done. I'm doing an interview with this wonderful guy in the UK right now. That's perfect. You don't have to move anything else. Look at
Oh,
this. Look at this beautiful fire stick behind me.
oh, wow.
This Mexican sage here. It's
Beautiful.
gorgeous. So the catharsis for me as a writer comes from the experience of just getting it out. And
Mm,
then I try not to ever look at the work, the artwork, acting, writing, creating as any form of therapy. I look at
mhm.
therapy for therapy. I
Yeah.
look to um, doing my work on my own time, for the development that I need to do psychologically, spiritually, emotionally. But all that being said, I still think it's important to write about things that scare me when I'm writing a new book or when I'm putting a new comic together. And I am grateful that people respond. I just did a signing yesterday at a theater here in Los Angeles. We screened Akira Kurosawa's film Rashomon, and I did a signing of my comic book series Knights versus Samurai there. And there were several people in the crowd who said that they had taken something away from the writing in
Mhm.
Creature Commandos or in another one of my books that meant something really significant and important to them. And several of the people, as they were talking to me, I realized this may not even been what I was intending with the character's arc,
Mm.
but the fact that this person was able to connect with something in there on a deeper, more meaningful level is to me like,
Yeah.
what a gift, man. Because I
Yeah.
just want to entertain people. I want to help people transport, escape, entertain. So when
Yeah.
you can add anything else to the fray, that's just like, that's amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wanted to squeeze this one in, David, because
Yeah.
obviously you've put your heart and soul into other projects as well. Count Crowley, Headless Horseman. These are projects that are uniquely your own. What was it like stepping into? Because Creature Commandos existed. There have been a history of this. Of other interpretations of these characters. What were some of the similarities and differences? Some of the challenges, perhaps, that you faced going into this compared to your own, your work with Count
Yeah, yeah,
Crowley,
yeah.
with
Sure,
Headless Horseman.
it's intimidating. It's intimidating to take on characters and a title that already existed before and that people are already fans of and that has a dedicated love in the community of comic book collectors and readers. And so for me, that's intimidating because you want to like hopefully meet people's expectations. You want to give them something that's fresh and new on something that they already love without feeling like you've changed it too much. So the premise and the monsters, all that is the same. But here now it's 2024, and I've learned a lot since I was, 10 or 11 reading Weird War Tales, Tales of the Creature Commandos. I've got a lot of things that have, shifted in my perspective and elevated the way that I look at certain parts of story. So hopefully bringing all that to this world and invigorating it with some, contemporary settings as well as some complicated ideas is something that will be really fun for people who've never heard of the Creature Commandos and for people who, like me, grew up loving them.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to add before we finish? Anything you'd like to say to your
No,
UK fans?
just thank you guys for being such great supporters of my work. Thanks for all the love we've gotten for Late Night with the Devil. Thanks for all the love we've gotten for Creature Commandos and Count Crowley and Knights versus Samurai, Headless Horseman. We have a DC Horror Presents story out right now. And there's much more to come from Good Fiend. So please follow the Good Fiend Instagram. I would be greatly honored. We tend to repost whenever people tag us and stuff because we're so tickled how many fans around the world are getting excited about the Good Fiend movement of good monsters. And I'm sure I'll have much more to share with you next time we talk. So until then, man, be well. You keep being good. You're doing such an awesome job in the world. And thanks.
Thank you, David. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.
Thanks, man.